Ivan Webb and his wife Karen fool around in the bed on Father's Day. Their children Jack and Lisa enter the room with a cake for Ivan. He plays monster with his kids and sends them out so he can get close to Karen. However, Karen is concerned that her work will be in the upcoming exhibition and prepares to take the children on a trip to the beach, which Ivan would have taken if it had not been for his shoulder injury. Louis, a friend of Webb's, came to see Karen's sculptures. Ivan says goodbye to Karen and the kids. Ivan is left with a dog named Monkeys and a lot of work on the house project. It starts raining heavily at night. Ivan is working, then hears knock knock on the door. Ivan goes to check and found two beautiful young girls, Genesis and Bella, soaking wet and shaking in the rain. Genesis says they were on their way to a party, but she left her phone at home or got wet and can't find the address, and Bella's phone dead due to heavy rain too. Ivan wants to help them but doesn't know how or can't just let them inside the house like that. Then Bella sneezes as she has had cold. Then Ivan offers them to come in and use his phone, but they don't have any number in their heads, so they ask to use the computer to find the address of the party or contact her friends through Facebook. Ivan calls them an Uber, but it takes 45 minutes to show up, so they ask him to let them use the dryer to dry their clothes because they can't go on a party soaking wet. While they are waiting for the taxi and their clothes to dry, the ladies check out Karen's art and Ivan's music instruments as he was a DJ before, and Ivan makes them some coffee to warm up. There are some chatting and flirting from the girls with Ivan, but Ivan doesn't feel appropriate, so he takes distance from them. But the ladies still continue talking about being a flight attendant and start delving into their sex lives, talking about the men they have slept with and how that thing is a basic human need. Bella in particular begins to approach Ivan, but he notices that the Uber is already got there. The ladies slipped into the bathroom to dress up, but it takes more time for Ivan than not to get worried. Ivan goes to call them, but they don't come out, so he goes in with holding his eyes shut and found them with no dress and are taking bubble bath and invite him also to join them. Ivan tries to resist and push them away, but the ladies start seducing him. They took it to the bedroom where Ivan plays threesome with them. The next morning, Ivan found the girls making breakfast. He told them to leave, but they continued to joke. At the same time, Karen, his wife, calls Ivan via FaceTime to tell Ivan that everything went well, except for Jack, his son, getting stung by a jellyfish. The girls almost ruined everything by yelling and shouting around, but Ivan tried to hide that there are not two girls in their house. After he's done talking on the phone, he comes in and gets furious at them to leave right away, but they just can't let go and make him frustrated. Plus, they claim that they are not adults, age-wise I mean. To make matters worse, Ivan's neighbor comes to the door to make sure he is safe from the last night's storm. Genesis shows up and puts Ivan down and tells his neighbor what's going on in the house. She left in disgust. When Ivan returns, he sees the ladies destroying Karen's sculpture. Ivan then begins calling the police until Genesis says she wanted to tell them he forced them and claiming she and Bella are both 15 years old. He says he's going to report the burglary, so Genesis asks for a ride home. He took them to the house they claim to live in and leaves. The ladies then leave the house and enter the playground. Ivan comes back and cleans the mess in the house. Later that night, he hears a shattering noise. He walks into the living room and found a broken picture frame of himself and his family. Genesis then appears behind him and knocks him down with the sculpture. Ivan wakes up tied to the bed as Genesis puts on makeup in front of the mirror. Bella enters with Lisa's school uniform as her outfit. She starts talking to Ivan like his daughter who has been played by her father. Ivan begs her to untie him, but Bella starts slapping him and harassing. Then his wife calls him a FaceTime. Genesis grabs the phone and wants to pick up. Ivan promises to do whatever they want if they just not to pick up the phone. When Genesis left the room, Belle forces herself on top of Ivan. As she is busy playing, Ivan gets a chance to untangle and throw her off of him. He runs and yelling to Genesis, but she stabs him in the shoulder with a fork. The ladies tied Ivan to a chair with a wire and gave him headphones as a part of their weird game show style test. If Ivan answers a question with something Genesis doesn't agree, she will play a loud, deafening sound in Ivan's ear. Louis appears at the door and enters the house so he can collect Karen's sculpture. Genesis poses as Ivan's niece, Bella as her friend. Louis then checks the sculpture to see it ruined. He gets mad and the girls start to seduce him, but he pushes them away and threatens them not to move so he can call the cops. Then he hears Ivan making a noise and runs to his aide, but before he can untie him, he hears the girls are demolishing the sculpture, so he runs back to stop them. This gave him an asthma attack and Genesis got his inhaler earlier. When Louis tried to grab it, they toss it back and forth to each other. Then he panics due to lack of oxygen and hit his head on the base of the sculpture, dying on the spot. The ladies wrap Louis' body in paper and hide it, and set up Ivan by trading an argument chat about Louis having affairs with Ivan's wife on Louis and Ivan's phones. They plan to execute Ivan at dawn. They taunt Ivan with the monster sound similar to when he plays with his kids, which meant they were watching him all the time, then digs a hole outside in the yard and come in to continue their game show and break everything in the house and find a hidden weapon. Then they suggest hide and seek before they give him a haircut, and if they find him, they will kill him. Ivan finally breaks down and demands to know what they get for trying to kill him when they find him. Ivan managed to escape the house, only to stumble outside and be captured by Genesis. They tied Ivan up again and put him in the hole they made it earlier and buried him around his neck. Genesis grabs a small statue and is about to hit him, but she throws it next to him and laughs. The ladies reveal that the whole ordeal was part of a game they like to play, where they lure married men into bed in hope of finding a man who would say no to them. But no one ever did, and that Ivan was their favorite so far, and that they are not underage. Before leaving, as Genesis got Ivan's phone, she uploads a video of him having fun with Bella on Facebook. Ivan takes his hand off the ground to delete the video, but accidentally likes it. Karen returns home with the children to find the house in a disarray with hateful and ugly designs on her sculptures and family photos. Ivan's son is like, "Daddy had a party," while Karen the wife is speechless.